I'd like for people who see my bandsaw bowls to wonder to themselves, how did he do that? If you look at them, they're fairly intriguing. They're big. And, or very small. They're not always round, so they're not turned on the lathe, and people wonder about that. And my hope is that they will become intellectually engaged in the piece, wondering how did he do that, becoming curious, and mentally deconstructing how it might have made the piece. So here's the secret. All of my pieces are made from a single board and cut with a bandsaw. For example, this bowl here was cut from a board just like this. This bowl was cut from a board just like that. This board, when I first created it, I just glued together alternate strips of walnut and maple. This was a square. With a compass, I drew a circle, and with the bandsaw table tilted a little bit, I cut out, rounded off the corners. Now I had just a disc. With the compass, I drew another circle, and with the bandsaw, I cut out one ring, placed it on top of the remaining disc, traced it, cut through, made one more ring, placed it on the remaining disc, one more, and then I stacked them up. After I made a round bowl from a square, it occurred to me I don't need to make round bowls, and I can put the pieces together in a different pattern. They can be large oval bowls. This came from a board that looked like that. And you can see how the diagonals, once they're stacked up, have a very different appearance. The way I glue them, I glue them in pairs, basically, carefully align it. And then with, I have clamps, and I just clamp down both sides. And that glue dries maybe for an hour or two. And I'll glue the next piece, also carefully aligning it. And then the last piece. And I won't sand it until the following day. I want the glue to set before I do any real work on it. But as you see, they're fairly rough, and they take a lot. They take a lot of sanding. They're very labor intensive. One of the things you'll notice on some of the bowls, you'll see this line. It's this line right here, where the bandsaw made a cut to cut the neck ring out. I sometimes just glue it very tightly and hope that nobody will notice that very thin glue line. Here, for example, the glue line is nearly impossible to see. I must have done a nice job. But in other cases, I put a piece of veneer, in this case, piece of blue veneer. In this case, I put a piece of yellow veneer. I don't try to hide the fact that it's made with a bandsaw. I'm a bandsaw bowl, and I'm proud. Looking for something different, it occurred to me that I can get an element of irony and incongruity if I made holes in the bowls. And so this makes it postmodern at no extra charge. And then I thought a scoop here would be interesting too, although it does remind some people of the 14th century barber bowls that the barbers would shave.